Oh, ladies and gentlemen, today we have some very spicy news for you. Uh, X-Men 97 is, without doubt, the second best MCU project for me. Well, Marvel Studios project. Technically, it's not in the MCU, although I think it technically is in the MCU, actually, because I think it's in the Marvel, multiverse, because there was, that one episode where the Watcher appeared. I don't really know. But as far as Marvel Studios projects go, I would put Guardians of the Galaxy 3 at the top, then X-Men 97, and then everything else I would have to think about. But one of the big little sticking points about X-Men 97 is that the showrunner of the show, 2 weeks before the show comes out, he got fired. And we haven't really known why until now. So showrunner Beau DeMayo, he put out this tweet here that says, "Firstly, I'm so grateful to have worked on X-Men 97, collaborating with some amazingly talented folks. Creating this revival was a dream come true, and the support fans have shown is so touching. However, I felt it pressing for me to speak up in the wake of leaving the show." And so he posted this picture here. This is an Instagram post, it looks like. I guess it seems like he posted this for Pride Month or something. Where this is him, Beau DeMayo, dressed up as Cyclops, bit of a sexy image, nothing too wrong with that, I don't think. And then he says here, "Above is X-Men fan art I posted on Instagram for Gay Pride in June, because I'm pretty sure he's gay as well, by the way. On June 13th. Marvel sent a letter notifying me that they'd stripped my Season 2 credits due to this post. Sadly, this is the latest in a troubling pattern I suffered through while working on X-Men 97 and Blade. I'll have more to say soon, but must take a step back from social media to find a safer space for me to be out, proud, and nerdy. Stay tuned." So basically what Beau DeMayo is alleging there is because Beau DeMayo posted this gay pride post or whatever, Marvel decided to strip his writing credits from season 2. Now, he didn't explicitly say this, but I feel like what he's kind of trying to allude to and hint at is that Marvel is being homophobic in a sense, and that they didn't like the fact that he used Cyclops or fan art of Cyclops to celebrate gay pride, although that's not explicitly said there, so I don't want to necessarily put that on him. But that's kind of what it feels like to me. However, Marvel actually responded to this post. They issued a statement to The Hollywood Reporter. It goes like this. Marvel responded by saying that DeMayo's behavior was the cause of his firing and for him losing his credits. Mr. DeMayo was terminated in March 2024 following an internal investigation, said a Marvel spokesperson in a statement. Given the egregious nature of the findings, we severed ties with him immediately, and he has no further affiliation with Marvel. So Disney is saying, right? Marvel is saying, Marvel is Disney, but you know what I mean. They're saying that, well, just to be clear, we fired him because we did an investigation and we found some shady shit. Are we going to tell you what that shady shit is? No. No, we are not. But they're basically I feel like by them saying that we found some egregious things, that's them basically saying, just to be clear, none of this was as simple as, oh, he posted some gay pride thing, right? We're Marvel Studios. We're not homophobic. And then the article actually continues to elaborate a bit more. It says, sources say that following his exit, an agreement was reached between the two parties over the issue of tweeting about the show, something that Beau DeMayo had continued to occasionally do. In light of the breaches, his credit for Season 2 was removed. While no details of the cause of the termination or the internal reviews have surfaced, sources say it involved sexual misconduct. So, just to be clear here, what I'm gathering from all of this is that he was fired from the show because of the investigations, and then the reason why they took his writing credits off of Season 2, like Beau DeMayo is suggesting, is because, at least this is what I'm getting from this Hollywood Reporter article, is that he continued to tweet and post about the show on social media, and it seemed like that might have been something that they put into their termination agreement, was that, hey, you can't post about the show, or maybe you can't post certain things about the show, because Beau DeMayo has definitely been posting a bunch of stuff about X-Men 97 while it was airing. Like, listen, say what you will about whatever he did, right? We'll get into it, but it actually was very interesting reading his tweets that he would put out about the show while it was running and getting more insight about it. Like, he would go very in depth about his thought process and his writing process and his reasons for doing certain things. So it seems like some of that, maybe not necessarily just the Cyclops fan art. It seems like at least something in all of his posts about the show post his termination led to him getting his writing credits taken off. At least that's what I'm getting from everything that we've read so far. Okay, so here we have Beau DeMayo's lawyer that actually put out a statement to Deadline. And it goes like this. Having much experience with Disney, the playbook is always the same. Family-friendly on the outside, but secretly attempting to plant illegal, unconscionable items in contracts that silence the truth and stop the employee/customer from asserting basic constitutional rights, Friedman said. In the past few years, the top lawyer has sued Disney on behalf of such clients as former ESPN broadcaster Sage Steele. As we will explain through detailed examples, which we will roll out in detail one by one, Disney's model is very clear and a repetitive illegal pattern. Friedman continued. Once it gets challenged or exposed, the gaslighting and redirection of the blame toward anyone willing to tell the truth starts through an international, well-oiled publicity machine. As for his client, Beau DeMayo wants nothing from Marvel/Disney, except the truth. Friedman said, he will bravely tell the truth, so will I stand by. Now, the fact that Beau DeMayo, A, has a lawyer in the first place, and B, his lawyer is making very aggressive and charged statements towards Disney, makes me think that it sounds like they're going to sue Disney. But I will say this. Based on what he's saying there, saying that Disney puts like illegal and unconscionable things in their contracts that, make it so that that Beau DeMayo can't speak freely. It does make me feel like, based on what the lawyer is saying, Beau DeMayo maybe did breach his contract by posting about X-Men 97 as much as he has been. That's what that feels like, I'm not gonna lie. So I don't know, like, you signed the separation agreement. I don't know. Again, we don't know the details yet, but just based on what the lawyer is saying, we can say that that what was in the contract is unfair and maybe unjust, but it does appear to be the case that Beau DeMayo did break some kind of term in the agreement. But yeah, undoubtedly, if this actually goes to court, that'll be very interesting to see. And by the way, just to be clear, Disney has gone to court over very dumb things and they've lost out. Let's just remember the Scarlett Johansson incident where that went to court and they settled and Scarlett Johansson got a bunch of money. So Disney is not some infallible company that isn't prone to doing really stupid things and not understanding the contracts that they make. But just based on what the lawyer is saying, kind of seems like Beau DeMayo breached his contract. All right, so that's all of the super duper official reporting done by all the major trades. Now let's get into a little bit more of the tea that's being reported by Jeff Schneider. Now, Jeff Schneider is a pretty reliable reporter, but he's kind of an independent journalist. I don't think he's currently working with any of the major trades or anything. But he's actually reporting on even more information. Okay, so, and I'm getting this from Superhero Hype. This is not Jeff Schneider's website, so he has a paywall. I'm gonna be for real. So we're reading this from Superhero Hype. But if you can, go support Jeff Schneider. According to Jeff Snyder's The Insider, DeMayo was fired for allegedly sending photos of himself in various states of undress to several young staff members. These photos allegedly saw DeMayo wearing superhero costumes and striking sexually suggestive hero poses that could be used as inspiration for the show. Snyder also reports that DeMayo allegedly groped an assistant and was both emotionally and physically abusive to staff members. Now, according to Snyder, Marvel has removed DeMayo's executive producer credit for X-Men 97 Season 2. They legally can't take away any of his specific writing credits. However, the company is now reportedly rewriting most of the new season. Schneider further notes that Matthew Chauncey, who was hired to write X-Men 97 Season 3 in July 2024 following DeMayo's exit, will most likely oversee the rewrites for Season 2, which does not have an official release date at this time. Okay, so that's... Okay, sorry. That's pretty crazy and wacky and wild. So, first of all, at least based on Jeff Schneider's reporting there, it seems like Beau DeMayo was sending nude photos to people? Or at the very least, sexually suggestive photos. Maybe they weren't completely nude. We don't know. We obviously haven't seen the pictures. That's probably not something that you should do. You shouldn't be sending basic, what I would consider, right, sexually suggestive pictures to your employees, right? Like, Beau DeMayo has an OnlyFans. I don't really care about that because, I mean, you can have that and then people either choose or not choose to look at that content. And it also, from what I understand, it wasn't explicit. But sending them directly to your employees and acting like it's, oh no, don't worry guys, this is work-related stuff. You can use these photos for inspiration. No. If that's true, that on its own, in my opinion, is probably warrants Disney not wanting to work with him anymore, to be completely honest. And then apparently he groped an assistant and was both emotionally and physically abusive to staff members. Groping the assistant, that's a big no-no, obviously, right? If that happened, that on its own is a big no-no, and I think warrants Disney not wanting to work with him anymore. I guess the stuff that's a little vague for me is the idea that he was emotionally and physically abusive to staff members. I definitely wonder what that means specifically. Did he, like, assault somebody? I mean, if that's true, that's obviously really bad. Emotionally abusive? That's the one that's a little bit like, eh. Like, what exactly does that mean? Was he hard on his employees, right? Like, you know, working on a TV show, I'm sure is a very high stress environment. And I feel like the line of what's acceptable and not acceptable can be a little gray at sometimes. So I'd like to know more details about that aspect of it, but the rest of it, if true, I mean, yeah, it is honestly, you would say that it is the responsibility of Disney to fire him, not just it's reasonable to fire him. They should have fired him. Now okay, so we've talked about all the serious stuff. Now let's talk about the stuff coming from a fan's point of view that doesn't really have to do with the serious stuff. Hey guys, by the way, I just had to leave for like hours. So this is like hours later, coming back, finishing recording the video. Don't know how different I look, but just letting you know. You know what I mean? But anyways, what I was going to say was Snyder's report is basically stating that Marvel might be rewriting most of Season 2, presumably in order to like legally be able to take Beau DeMayo's name off of the project. And I don't like that as a fan. Because, listen, Beau DeMayo, he might be a terrible person. He cooked with X-Men 97 Season 1. Am I saying that we need to have him work on more projects if he's an awful person? No. I think it's fair to fire him. But if he already wrote season 2, then I mean, we don't need to fix what ain't broke. I'm just I'm just saying, like, we can still use whatever he wrote for season 2. Sure, get the new guy in for season 3, but to rewrite most of season 2 just because we don't want to like credit him for the show anymore, that just seems unnecessary, and it does indeed run the risk of making season 2 not as good. Because if you're just arbitrarily writing a script that that's not like natural, then that absolutely could just mess with what was already written. So yeah, that is definitely, from a fan's perspective, the worrying part about all this. But overall, man, very disappointing to hear all this. You know, the guy was talented. He's talented, and you know, this is probably going to go to court, and we're probably going to get more solidified information. So, you know, we'll see what happens. It's entirely possible that Disney was in the right and that he was like an abusive, yada yada, or he was an abusive boss, and he, you know, I think the proper term would be sexually harassed some of his employees, and that stuff's not acceptable. But maybe it's the truth that that Disney is in the wrong in some kind of way. That's also possible. So we'll have to wait and see until more information comes out. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.